In this tutorial, we are going to convert our Excel data into an interactive dashboard. So to start with, we must have our data. So it is already filtered and converted into table. Now for this example, this is a crime data for a certain police station. So in here are the different information about the crime and classification of the crime. So we added some of the fields here, like the time, and we use this formula, the floor. We also have day, wherein this is our formula. We also have formula for our month and the year. So to start with, we are going to have our pivot table. So to have our pivot table, we are going to click on Insert tab, and on the first tool we have Pivot Table. Just click your pivot table and then make sure in the options the table range is table 1 as shown in this Create Pivot Table. Then click OK. Now when you click OK, a new sheet will be created, and then if you notice, it has already options for pivot table. Now what is the purpose for pivot table? Now this is used to filter the data based on your record. Now for example, we are going to have the blatter number for the values, meaning to say it will count unique items or unique values in this field. Then we are going to have the nature, this one. So in this, we are already have a summary, so PUI and PSI. So PUI meaning to say we have 19 incidents, and for public safety index we have 26 incidents. And we could actually play with the fields here. For example, we can add the month in the column part, so it is also filtered or presented in terms of month. So PUI total 19, and in January we have 8, 2 for February, 3 for March, April. So you don't need to count your data one by one or to sum it up. So in pivot table, it will automatically get the values, filter them, and count them by means of the different fields that you have created. We could play around with the different rows, the columns, but usually for values, it is the most unique item for your records. Now for this one, we are just going to remove the other fields, and we will focus on nature, and let's stick with the values for the counted blatter, because this is the unique value for every record that we have. Okay, then we shall copy this one, Ctrl C, then paste it 20 columns, 20 rows below. Now they are the same, so in here we are just going to change the field. So on the first one we have nature, on the second one we are going to remove nature, and let's have violation. So drag violation. So if you notice, the first pivot table shows our records in terms of the fields for nature, categorized in PUI and PSI. And for our second pivot table, we have nature, ah, we have violation. So different violations and the total. So the same total because we are using the same record wherein all of the data is from this table. We are just summarizing it. Okay. Then I will copy again the first pivot table. Control C. Then paste it 20 rows below. And then this time I am going to use month. So I'm going to remove nature. And then I'm going to have the month. Okay. So if you notice, we only have January, February, March, April, and May because the data that we have here is only from January to May. Still 45 because we are using the same data. And I'm going to copy this one, Control C, paste it 20 spaces below or 20 rows below. And instead of month, I'm going to use day. Okay, so technically there are 7 days in a week. Then I'm going to copy it again. Control C. Paste it 20 rows below. We don't need to count the rows. Just assume that you have 20 spaces or 20 rows. Enough that if you're going to change the value later on, the filter later on, it will not eat the spaces or eat the parts of the next pivot table that you have used or inserted below. Now, we already have our day, so we are going to use another field. So this time it will be barangay. Remove day and then barangay. Okay. Then I'm going to copy it again. Control C. Then 20 spaces, Control V. Then I'm going to have time. There are also settings for every pivot table. So right click, then you will have pivot field settings. Okay, you can select some of the settings. Like show items with no data. So we are going to copy it again and paste it here. And lastly, we are going to have our modus. Okay. So now we have our pivot tables. Then we are going to add our charts. So we are going to select the applicable charts for the certain data. For example, the first one, we are going to use a pie chart. So to do that, highlight the data that would include the category and the value, and then on the insert tab, let's choose maybe this one. Okay, there we go. Then we can remove this one. Okay, and then for here, let's have it crime incidents. There we go. Now let's put some details in our chart. So click and then design. Add chart element. So data labels. Let's have data callout. There we go. For us to be able to easily identify which part is POI and which part is PSI. More on that, we could also have data labels and then more data label options. So I am planning to also include the value. So as you can see here, it's only the percentage, so I'm also going to include the value. So PSI 26 incidents, 58%, POI 19 incidents, 42%. close this one. And then let's give emphasis on the labels, bold, and then increase the font style. Okay, maybe this is enough. For this one, I'm going to highlight the data, and maybe I could use a column. Okay, I'm going to remove the legend. Now in here, I am going to label it as crime. And then if you notice, it's very plain, so I could actually filter it and sort from largest to smallest. In this case, we are able to see what is the highest crime incident transpired in that certain area. Also, I'm going to add data labels, then give emphasis. Maybe I'm going to change the color red, bold, and then increase the font. Okay, next pivot table. Okay, so for this one, I'm going to use another type of chart. This time I'm going to use a line. Okay, so want, then delete the legend. So this means that in January to February, crime incidents have decreased. Then from February to March, it slightly increased up to April. Then in May, the crime incident decreases. So let's add some data labels. Add data labels. So if you notice, it's not a bug. So let's have design, add data labels, and then add data labels, more data label options. So we are going to label the position above so that our line or trend will still be visible and the value per month will be visible. Okay, I'll give emphasis on these labels. I'll make it bold, and maybe I'm going to change the color red, and then this time I'm going to put a fill color. There you go. Then you can actually insert some other chart elements. For example, we have the lines, so we can have drop lines just to indicate which value falls on what month. Now we can also change the settings of these drop lines. Go to right click and then format drop lines. So I am going to change the dash into this one, broken line, and I'm going to change the color into green. Okay, so this gives more texture on our graph. Next, I'm going to proceed to the day pivot table. So I'm going to insert a chart. So the same, I'm going to use, maybe I could use this one, line chart again. So day. Then I'm going to remove this one since we only have one legend. The same thing, maybe I could also add the data labels and then above and lines, drop lines, and then I could change the settings or the format. I'll make it the dash to this one, and maybe the color would be not yellow, something that is also visible, maybe a lighter blue. Okay, then on the value I'm going to make it bigger or bold, and then maybe the color would be green. It depends on your preference, for as long as it will give you value and interpretation, and it will be easily be read. That's the most important thing. Let's proceed to the next. So barangay, I'm going to highlight the data, insert. So maybe I could use this one, and then just say barangay. This indicates per barangay how much crime incident transpired, and then remove the legend since we only have one legend, and then maybe to arrange our data, I could sort this one, highest, largest, smallest. Okay, then I'm going to insert a chart element, data labels, this one. I'm going to give emphasis red, okay, bold, and I believe, oh no, we still have the time. Insert, maybe I could use again this one. Name it as crime clock. Now for this, it will indicate what peak time or peak hours does a crime occur. So for this certain area or location or municipality, most of the crime transpired at 7 p.m. Then let's add data elements. So data labels above, okay, let's give emphasis bold and a simple red. That will do it. And then lastly, we'll have this modus. Let's add some chart. This time I'm going to use a different one, which is this one. Okay, the highest modus is down. Okay, it's fine. Later on we can filter this one. You will see it in our dashboard. Then let's add some of the elements. Design, add chart element, data labels outside. Give emphasis, make it bold, and I'm going to change its color green or orange. Okay, make it a little bigger. And then this will be the modus. Now we are done with our different pivot tables as well as our charts. The next thing to do is to create our dashboard. So to create our dashboard, I'm going to insert a new sheet. Okay, and then I am going to name it as dashboard. Dashboard A. Okay. Then I'm just going to copy the different chart. So first, this first two, Control C, Control V. I have two charts already. I'm just going to arrange it, and then going back, I'm going to have the month, maybe the barangay also. That will be enough for now. Then paste it here. Okay, it has copied the same thing. Let's copy it again. I'm going to copy the month and the barangay. Control C and paste it again. So we have the month and the barangay. Okay, so let's arrange this one. Let's have 100% view if possible. Let's have it 85%. Okay, I'm going to align it here and this one. Design data labels. What have we call out the labels again? Put the value. Okay. Usually it will copy also the content, but this time I don't know what happened. Bold. Okay. Crime incidents PSI 58%. Then for the month, I'll make it bolder. So let's make your table presentable. I'm going to add labels here. Not call out one, above. Okay. There we go. Okay. Then let's add the slicers. Click on the chart and then go to insert and then slicer. This is slicer. Okay, click slicer and you'll need to select for the option. Now since we have used here nature, then we are going to check for nature. And then your slicer for this chart, nature, POI and PSI. Later on we are going to connect them. So let's place it here. We can actually resize it. For this one I'm going to move the chart instead. Okay. Then for the month, insert, slicer, just the month, click OK, and then let's set it here. Let us resize our nature since we only have 2 categories, and then let's move our months and then resize it a little, and then resize. Then we shall have our crime, insert, then slicer again. This is violation, so click violation, click OK, and then place it here. So there are several violations here, and if they are not seen in the size of the slicer, you will have this scroll bar or the button. So let's resize this one. Okay. And lastly, for the barangay, click this one, go to insert, slicer, and then barangay, click OK. Maybe for barangay I shall have it here. Okay. Now if we click one, so that what happened is that our chart changes. Okay, I'm going to select it. Okay. Now let's do the connection. You click this one and then you click one, slicer, and then option, and then report connection, and then we are going to check everything. Okay. Then click OK. Then for the month, report connection, check again everything, because we are going to connect all of these charts one another. Click OK, and then for violation, reports connection, and OK. Then for barangay, do the same. There we go. Okay. Now after we did the connection, so let's first review our data. So we have month of January, February, March, April, May, and then the highest incident is illegal drugs. So if we're going to select January, okay, so only January for the month, all of the other charts will adjust for the month of January. So we have, for the month of January, the highest crime incident is illegal drugs. If you click February, so everything will be filtered to February. So for March, so it really changes, because in March, illegal drugs only is counted as one incident. Then we have 2 murder and 2 vehicular incidents for physical injury. Then April and May. Okay. Then to remove the filter, just click this clear filter. Now what if we are going to have this specific for barangay, for example, Poblacion has 12 incidents based on our statistics. So we are going to have Poblacion to further see what are these incidents in Poblacion. So we have top 3, illegal drugs, robbery, and theft. Okay, filter. Now these are only some. We could also add the crime clock. We can have the day and the crime clock. This will give more information on the crime trend, and it will be very helpful for crime analysis. Let's paste it here, Ctrl V. So day, and we have the crime clock. You just need to adjust it. Okay, so the same procedure, we are going to insert a slicer. Click the chart, then insert slicer. Since this is filtered with a day, so we shall also have day. Then we have the days of the week, and let's have it here. Adjust it. Then let's do the same with crime clock. Insert, then the slicer, and let's have time. Okay, and I'm going to put it here. Then we are going to connect it with the other slicers. So to do that, you click the slicer for the day, report connection. So let's connect it the rest of the pivot table as well as for the time. Okay, now this is only the dashboard, so it will give you a overall monitoring on the situation of your crime incident. We could also use this one for our presentation, so we can click our graph and then paste it in our PowerPoint for presentation purposes. Now let's see how if the connections were successful. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 charts. So I want to only see all of the POI. Okay, so highest is illegal drugs. Okay, Poblacion. Then maybe let's focus on a certain violation. I want to see homicide. Okay, homicide for this area. The highest is on April. Okay. And it's in Barangay San Antonio. Okay, there's no clear crime clock because we only have limited data. Okay. So this is how we are going to convert this data, rows of data, summarize it with our dashboard. So we don't need to count anymore how many incidents transpired one by one. And if we have our record for June, we can just append our record and go to data and refresh all, and it will automatically be added into our dashboard. So no need to count again. So thank you, please like and subscribe.